Golden State Media Concepts Fantasy Football Podcast is your one-stop shop for fantasy football news and advice. Can't decide on who to draft on the first round? Going gaga on how to line up your team. We've got you covered. Traditional leagues, dynasty leagues, PPR leagues, IDP league, even daily fantasy football league. Join us as we break down all the questions of fantasy football. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Fantasy Football Podcast.
What is up? Welcome into the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. As it is a Tuesday today, as we are now getting into the mini camps, the more mandatory stuff. We had OTAs, which were not mandatory. Obviously, there was nobody came. I mean, Gronk didn't go, Tom Brady didn't go. That was the big names that were all over the storylines. Regarding people that didn't show up. Now we're getting into the fact where it's now holdouts. Minicamp guys that are not showing up to mandatory holdouts because of contract disputes or as such. I know Aaron Donald isn't going to be there. There's a couple other names that I want to go over as well as the fact that there's I don't think there's going to be major fantasy implications. I put up effective minicamp holdouts. Earl Thomas is holding out as well. There's no effect. I mean, maybe for offense, defensive players, which we're now seeing more and more of, looking like that they're going to be holding out as So it looks Earl Thomas is holding out until he gets a new contract. There are other players who should hold out. I mean, obviously, they aren't just doing it because they don't want to play. They're doing it because their agents are probably telling them it's the best decision for them to make. David Johnson's one of them that we're saying should hold out. Odell Beckham obviously was almost traded. Rob Gronkowski probably deserves to get paid a little more. Zach Martin for the Cowboys, Pro Bowl, All-Pro offensive tackle. Should probably hold out Zach Martin's a guard. Should probably do it because of the fact that Andrew Norwell, Kevin Zeitler, Kelly Osamale for the Raiders, Gabe Jackson, Joel Bonito, and David DeCastro have all signed deals of $50 million or more within the last couple seasons. So there's definitely room to grow there when it comes to the contract of Zach Martin. He's still under his rookie contract that would grant him $9.4 million in his final season. There are those guys that it's listed, and a couple others that average more per year when it comes to guards. So obviously, this guy's been one of the best in the league. He's one of the more recognizable names, which is hard for a guard. He's been on Pro Bowls, all pro teams. I mean, definitely a guy who's worth more than he's getting. And I mean, that's the NFL for you. You're on your rookie contract. You're like, I don't feel like waiting. I'm going to hold out and try and get a better restructured deal now versus the next year. So I think it's the fact that there's only a couple guys, maybe more than him, veterans, but this is a guy who came in the league and has been really, really good. Really, really good to start off this league. I mean, he's been making Zeke the fantasy player that he is because of the fact that he is in there, is playing a lot, and is playing well. I mean, looking at his stats, obviously when it comes to sacks and quarterback hits, he only allows a quarterback hit or a sack every 214 pass blocking snaps. That's from Pro Football Focus. Saying that he didn't get called for a penalty last season. He's reliable. Obviously, he started 64 straight games, and since he was drafted in 2014. So I mean, this is a guy who has been one of their best players overall, best players on the team, just regardless of position, best player on the team almost a lot of the years, and he's been a big deal for Zeke, obviously getting out there and blocking for him in the run game too. So definitely a guy who can hold out, and that might have some fantasy implications, maybe due to the fact that the offensive line can't mesh the way you want coming the season starts. But this is the offensive line that's been together for a while in Dallas, so I'm not really worried about it. They said that Martin could be getting a deal upwards of $70 million to become the first guard to reach that threshold. That's just one guy. So there's another guy. I mean, obviously we know Aaron Donald is holding out. Fantasy implications of this, not really too afraid of what's happening. Obviously, Aaron Donald is a great player and has his own pedigree and everything. But when it comes to fantasy, he's going to be there. If he's not there week 1, then just don't play the Rams. I mean, it's not like it's like, oh my God, Todd Gurley's not going to be in the starting lineup for week 1. What am I going to do? I drafted him first overall. No, I mean, it's just, the Rams defense is great. They probably will get drafted because you have to draft defense. And, obviously it could have implications for IDPs, individual defensive player leagues. So there are effects. There's effects of every little thing, the holdouts. I mean, depending, obviously, we're just at the very beginning of these holdouts. We'll see how long they last. Coming into the summer and then into training camp, obviously, we'll see if there is anything regarding contract decisions that are made or agreements that are made, but we'll also be reporting that here as well. So Aaron Donald, nothing surprising there. Obviously, becoming a guy who has held out a lot and he's also been a great player. I mean, all pro player, Hall of Fame level player already, and he hasn't really needed these OTAs. And the fact that they're getting the reps, is all important for some of the younger guys. Obviously, the fact that there's always a competition and a comparison when it comes to salaries. So, I mean, the fact that Von Miller is being paid $114 million over 6 years, you have to start from there, basically. The Rams are going to have to go over that. Okay, beat that. The fact that the Rams are going to have to, whoever their salary cap person is, they're going to be doing some serious work the next few seasons, because you're going to have Donald getting paid. You're going to have Gurley getting paid. You're going to have Jared Goff getting paid. That's just the big three right there. I can probably think of a couple other guys. They're going to come looking. I mean, I think LaMarcus Joyner, did he get a deal already? I can look that up. But obviously, Les Snead is already kind of nudged his way without quite admitting it. He'd go on Peter King's podcast and said that obviously this is a guy who's about to become the highest paid defender in football. I mean, we know he is. We're just working on the contract. Obviously, there's a lot of we only get when we hear the reports. Oh, he signed 7 years, $120 million. Or I mean, it's going to probably be 6 years, $120 million. There's a lot of small words in the contract. Obviously, there's probably some incentives based in there, things that have to be ironed out, which is why we have these long holdouts sometimes, because there's little mini things inside the contract. Might not be the years and the amount, but it might be smaller things in the contract that cannot be agreed upon and might will cause a delay, which then, I mean, the closer you get into the season, the more, I mean, I wouldn't be really afraid of Aaron Donald, but for just other players in general, I mean, Khalil Mack also is holding out, and he did not have a good season last year, coming off a down year, and you're going to hold out. That could have implications, especially for you IDPs out there. Might drop Khalil Mack stock a little bit in the draft if you're looking to draft him as an individual defensive player. The Raiders' defense isn't really draftable at all because their secondary is pretty terrible, and they give up a lot of points last year. But as far as a premier pass rusher is going to rack up some sacks, that could be a massive weapon for a player or a team that needs an individual defensive player at defensive end. So Khalil Mack is one of the best in the league. He was great when he was a rookie. Down here last year, he's holding out, and that could definitely have some effects because and looks like he's waiting on Aaron Donald. Obviously, Aaron Donald's going to set the market. I don't think Khalil Mack is as good as Aaron Donald. I think he's going to be getting as much money as Aaron Donald. Yes, he's got the potential and the talent to be as good as him, but he had a bad year last year. If he was up there in the ranks of sacks with Chandler Jones, sure, great, do it. But you didn't. You came coming off of not a great year. Obviously, you were the best. You were the best defender in the league the year prior. But is that a high watermark? Did he peak too early? All these questions are coming out regarding Khalil Mack, and I don't know if if this is a guy who could be benefiting from the holding out for too long. I'm not against holding out for maybe this whatever the mini camps are doing, but just don't miss much training camp, and please don't miss a preseason game, because those for Khalil Mack, I know it's all about timing, about technique and everything with your offensive line and the other defensive linemen, whether you're working stunts or switches or whatever you're doing to get to the passer. But you need to get your stuff together for this season. Obviously, you need to pick it back up, be like you were in 2016, to get the Raiders back to where they were, and get John Gruden on your good side, or get on John Gruden's good side at least. Because he is the offensive guy, but he loves a good defense. John Gruden loves a good defense. Obviously, any offensive person would, because they get you the ball back, and a sack by Khalil Mack can be one of the most devastating things you can do to an offense, and to a drive. So. Definitely some implications there, some effects of Khalil Mack missing time, and I'm just afraid if it gets too long that it could leak into his performance this season. Another guy is Daniel Hunter, the defensive end for the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, there's Everson Griffith there as well, but this is a guy who could be in a predicament with the Vikings. Obviously, Anthony Barr is going to be a free agent after this year. So is Stephon Diggs. So it looks like the Vikings might be looking to save some money this offseason in order to get ready for next season with the cap. Obviously, I don't know how much adjustment to the cap there is every offseason in the NFL. Not much, but looks like they're going to be trying to save some money. And this is a guy who has been very valuable, Daniel Hunter, and he wants more. He thinks he should get paid more than he deserves. These guys are putting their bodies out on the line. I know there's plenty of people there. Oh, they're already getting paid millions of dollars. Oh, they don't need all this money. What are they whining about? They don't need this money. Well, they're putting their bodies out there. They're putting injury on the line. They're putting their families' future, everything on the line to play football for these teams that are making billions of dollars off of them, by the way. Billions of dollars. When you sell a basketball team for $2 billion, you know how much a football team is worth. It's just one player, but it's all encompassed into everything. So, looks like that. This is a guy who could be maybe asking for money when there isn't money, because the fact that the Vikings are trying to save for next offseason when they need to make big, plush, fuzzy, big, juicy offers to Stephon Diggs and to their big linebacker Anthony Barr. So whether this is a guy who is going to be holding out until he decides to just stop or not, I think this is going to be a kind of a stalemate situation. Another guy is that we haven't talked about yet is, we did talk about Rob Gronkowski a little bit. I didn't mention his name, but with Gronk, obviously he is going to be paid until this. I think is he obviously, well, it depends how long Gronk wants to play. Obviously, he is the highest paid player in total worth. Obviously, signing that 6-year, $54 million deal. But when it comes to year by year annual salary, Jordan Reed, Travis Kelce, and Jimmy Graham are all ahead of him. And he's, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with this one as far as, this is what the experts are saying regarding who should hold out, who shouldn't. I think it's just from Bleacher Report. But I don't know if this is a good one regarding Gronk, because he doesn't stay healthy enough. Yeah, he gets paid a lot. He doesn't spend any of his money that he gets from football, so he doesn't really care about the money that much. So why hold out? Why just go to camp, do your workouts, get with Brady, and stay healthy. Work on staying healthy this season. Anything, maybe hold out just so you can stay healthy. If anything, this season for Rob Gronkowski, because he's had difficulties staying on the field definitely this season. But this is a guy who can be a massive weapon. Obviously, talking about him, just looking at him from a size standpoint, just a physical ability standpoint, we know what he can do. We know the numbers he's put up in this league. But just being able to stay on the field, and the fact that the Patriots, they have no reason to. They have no reason to adjust his contract, because they could win without him anyways. They win games with him on the IR anyways. So I don't know. I'm not sure if I agree with that one, but you never know. Gronk could hold out. Just But the big ones, Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack. We'll get to some Odell Beckham Jr. talk on the other side of the break. So everybody stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast, as we have been talking about some guys who either are or should be holding out this offseason to get new contracts from their respective NFL teams. This is kind of the weird thing. Like, we always talk about free agency. Like, I know this summer is going to be crazy for free agency in basketball. Like, where's LeBron going to go? Is LeBron going to stay? Now it's all about, in football, it's like, okay, who's holding out? Who wants a new contract? Who wants to try and make more money, even though they're still in a current contract that they apparently agreed to? The only person I think is actually worth holding out is Aaron Donald, yes. Zach Martin. I talked about Zach Martin last segment. Offensive lineman. Has been good since he started in the league, was as a rookie, has been an all-pro, I think, but definitely been a pro bowler. I'm pretty sure he's been all-pro as well, maybe once or twice. And he's also getting underpaid compared to the other tackles. The other guards that are out there. There's 8 other guards that are getting paid more than him on an average annual basis. He has 2-time first-team all-pro. 2014 his rookie year, and 2016, which was the year before last, and then last year, and then in also 2015, his second season, he was a second team All-Pro. So he's always been an All-Pro, first team or second team. Then he's been a Pro Bowler, and every season that he has played in the NFL. So he's good. The guy's really good. Notre Dame product as well, because they just churn out great offensive linemen at Notre Dame, which is cool. Definitely he gets you get paid more. He makes like $9.5 million this season on his rookie contract. Yeah, you can rip up that rookie contract if you're him. I would nope. You need me more than I need you, buddy. Mr. Jones, I have been really good for you. You've been underpaying me because I've been so good, so young, which basically just means cheap. It's time for me not to be cheap anymore. It's been 4 years. Pay me. And the fact that he waited till the last... he was a pro. He was a first-team All-Pro, Pro Bowler as a rookie. If he was... his agent's like, okay, next year... Okay, then he gets second team All-Pro, also a Pro Bowler though. Again, okay, one more year. All right, now after the fourth season, your rookie contract usually is a 5-year deal. After the fourth season, he finally is like, okay, yeah, now finally, I think we need to get that. And I think they wanted to wait till the big Andrew Norwell just signed this off season. I think there are a couple other guys who changed in the free agency frenzy in the NFL did to get bigger deals regarding guards, because you want to wait for that comp. You want to see who sets the market. Obviously, Zach Martin should be the one who sets the market, as he is probably the best guard in the league right now, or one of them. Aaron Donald does that when it comes to defensive tackles. He's the best defensive tackle in the league right now. He sets the market. There's guys making more money than him. He doesn't want to play. The leverage. The player has the leverage. There's 31 other teams who I mean, I don't know if I don't know what the whole thing. That's why it's almost usually kind of a stalemate, because I don't think you can just jump out of your contract, but you can just not play. You can really, if you are holding the whole holding out thing is kind of a game of chicken, where it's like, yeah, I'm serious. I'm going to do it. I'm going to jump off this bridge. I'm going to do it. You better do this, or I'm going to do it. Like, it's just like chicken kind of situation, where it's like, yeah, I'm not going to play until you pay me my money. Give me my money. That just makes me think of Jerry Maguire. Because, yeah, it's a simple thing. Do you think you should be able to play for what you're worth? And what you're worth can be set by your own abilities for some of the top players, and also can be set by some of the other players. I mean, you see the quarterbacks out here, we're all crazy. Jimmy Garoppolo has played 5 games in the NFL. Why is he getting paid so much? Because that's the market. Wait 2 more weeks, Matt Ryan's going to beat it. Case Keenum's going to beat it. Kirk Cousins is going to beat it. It's all going to go up, 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 up. All of it. It's always going to go up. I know this is the fantasy show, but this is the NFL show too today. As we're gonna do a mock draft. Don't worry, we're not forgetting our mock drafts. It's gonna be the next segment. I think I'm gonna do a mock draft, and then we'll talk about it in the final segment, how it came out. As I'm kind of just doing that we're doing that every time here. At least we did 2 last week, and that actually was pretty fun because we did a little. They were both a little different. But yeah, no, the draft simulator is fun. Hope you guys been doing that in your own time, because the more practice, more perfect. I mean, more scenarios, more figuring things out. Obviously, I've always preached the fact that you should read your room. Try and get a gauge of who you're drafting against, what kind of positions do they value. Are they going to wait on a quarterback? Are they not going to wait on a quarterback? Try and just to gauge your room. If you can just ask a couple pointed questions, or just, hey, buddy, what are you feeling like this week? Oh, okay. Put that in your bank. Put that in the information bank and just destroy them. There's not a better feeling than taking the player that your friend wanted, the spot right in front of them. It's like, thank you, I'll take him. And they're like, what happened? Nope, he's mine. Sorry, he's mine. He's on my team. Yeah, that's here's your fantasy 101. But yeah, no, contracts in the NFL are interesting. I mean, there's players. I mean, Tom Brady's taking a pay. I mean, if anything, Tom Brady has not only won himself Super Bowls on the field, but he's won them off the field, because he didn't show up to OTAs this year, or the non-mandatory ones, because he's 40 and needs to start picking his spots. But he also has been a guy who hasn't held out. He's done the opposite. He's taking pay cuts because, I mean, we can go into the whole fact that, yes, his wife is worth a bunch of money too. They don't really need it. Great. But he has taken pay cuts in order for his team to be more flexible to sign players to play with him. So there's always 2 sides of the coin. If you are if you're Aaron Donald, perfect example, because Aaron Donald, I've already went over it. Aaron Donald has 2 teammates who are both due for new contracts next year, as they're coming off their rookie deals. And if you're Aaron Donald, do you say, okay, no, pay me what I deserve, or pay me what you're comfortable, in order to give them the money that we can be all like, if there's a one number that can be split between the 3 of us, and there's that one number, you can figure it out, and to keep under the cap, just figure out how to divvy up that number, because that's all we want. And if everybody can find a number within that number that adds up, that can and be happy, that's what you want, because you have 3 guys right there: Gurley, Goff, and Aaron Donald. Obviously, Aaron Donald getting a jump because he's holding out this year and is going to be paid this year, versus Gurley and Goff are not, and are going to be waiting until next season they're going to go and actually finish up their contract and go, because their competition isn't the same. It's something, they aren't the best in their position, arguably. Todd Gurley could be considered the best running back in the league as of now. There are some guys who would like to combat that notion, but Aaron Donald is pretty much the top tier guy. I mean, until J.J. Watt, who can stay healthy more, but J.J. usually plays more on the outside. There are different positions. Obviously, defensive lineman is within 4 different positions. You can say defensive lineman, but I mean, Aaron Donald's more of an interior defensive lineman, so you want to comp him. with the other interior defensive linemen. So, I mean, that's not a bad idea there. Normal things are coming down the pike here where we're trying to figure out. I mean, every year we have these holdout guys, and I think Aaron Donald, like I said, you ask Les Snead, okay, Les, I know you got to pay these two guys next year. How can I help you do that? Basically, with my contract, is what he should do. I'm going to hold out. I want a new deal. I'm going to hold out for my new deal. But when we come back and have our negotiations, I want to keep that in mind. I don't think he's going to do that because he's worried about himself a little bit more. But if you take the Tom Brady model, that's what Tom Brady did. Tom Brady took pay cuts every year so he can get Gronk money, so he can get Edelman money, so he can get Amendola back on the team, so he can have why do you think Tom Brady has never had a bad offensive line? Why? He's never had a bad offensive line. His offensive line has either been good or great because he takes less money so they can pay the offensive linemen well and get the good ones. Simple as that. Obviously, the Rams, they have been able to be willing and dealing through trades to be able to keep their cap number down, but they're going to be grabbed close because Goff is going to get his payday, and so is Gurley. And Aaron Donald, buddy, I think that, I mean, honestly, yeah, hold out for what you want so you can get your new deal. But I think when you go negotiate, don't be too greedy. Don't be too greedy. There's only so much out there. Salary cap league. You got to be able to take into account your teammates there. Don't be too greedy because it is a salary cap league, and you got to pay two big guys who, I mean, yeah, defense is a big deal. I mean, obviously, if he was an offensive player, he might be a little more understanding. The fact that he plays defense might be a reason why he might not care that much about what they get paid. But if he pays attention to the fact that offensive is important and your job basically is to get off the field and to get that offense back on the field, and you want those guys, your best two offensive players, to get paid well, then you can maybe take a little less money in order for them to do that this season. But I mean, I think he's more worried about the fact that he becomes the highest paid defensive tackle. The fact that there's guys who are being paid more than him probably doesn't feel good. The Von Miller number always is out there. Von Miller, when it comes to a pass rusher, it's between him and Aaron Donald as guys who have been healthy and have been out there a lot, and have been topping the league in the sack numbers for the last few seasons. Obviously, you always think about JJ Watt. JJ's been hurt, as he's been busy doing other things as well. So we can't knock JJ for being hurt. The guy's pretty amazing for what he's done as well. But yeah, that's. I mean, when it comes to effects I've talked about it at the beginning of the show. Offense obviously has more effect than the defense when it comes to fantasy, but those who are out there who are in the IDP leagues, Aaron Donald holding out could have some effect, could maybe wave you the wrong way. The fact that he's doing it could make him a little rusty to start the season off. I don't think so, because of the fact that he's already prepared. He's already been working out this off season. And the position he plays has a lot to do with strength and technique versus learning the playbook and timing and stuff like that. I mean, there's timing involved in it and all the stunts and everything. The complicated defenses are now with pass rushes and design disguise plays and all that stuff like that, but his job basically is to get past the offensive lineman and tackle the quarterback or tackle the running back and blow up plays and just be an absolute disruptor there in the middle. So if he can do that, then he'll be just fine. If he can do that without doing the mini camps or without even playing, if he misses some training camp or if he misses even a preseason game, and it's going to be adding more question marks on it, I think he'll be fine. But of course, it always remains to be seen what's going to happen this season. Obviously, we like to always think about the best or the worst. We always think about the opposite, the two opposing sides, polar sides. But maybe he just comes back and is just fine and is right back where he's at, and he gets a few more $1 million on his check. Or they get game checks, so it'll probably be a few more $1,000 on his game check every week. All right, that'll wrap it up for this segment. We're going to come back and do a draft simulator in the third segment. Then we're going to talk about what happened in that draft simulator and do some talk on some individual players as well in the fourth segment. So everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA Podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, welcome back. Third segment of the day today, as we're going to do a little mock draft in this third segment, and then we're going to talk about some of the more tough decisions I had to make in this mock draft. So there's always different players who are really close to each other. There's two sets of receivers that I always have to bring up because they're both on the same team, and they both are really close. Like there's Marvin Jones and Colton Tate. They're very close in the rankings, and then so are Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs as well. So got to make decisions there between those two guys. I do love this draft simulator. Obviously, we can do all sorts of talk as well because it always brings up different question marks. We'll do a 12 man draft. We'll do PPR because I like PPR. I always seem to do well in PPR. And I'll randomize my draft selection, and I'm picking 10th overall, and we'll switch it to 2 receivers and a flex, 2 running backs as well, and everything's the same. And we'll start our draft. So here we go. I'm picking 10th, so I'm not going to be there for my turn for a while, but PPR, here we go. Zeke, let's look at that. Zeke 7th. Let's see, where did look at that. Julio Jones sitting right there for me. That's good. But in PPR, that's nice too. So when Le'Veon Gurley, so Le'Veon Bell, I think Le'Veon Bell is the number one guy in PPR. He just is. It's touches. Big Ben and him are on such a good level. They have design run plays for him. They run a lot of screens there. Obviously, Gurley's right there with him because of the fact that they also passed him out of the backfield a lot as well with the screen game. And he's very elusive with the yards after the catch. It's just like Le'Veon. So Bell and Gurley becoming closer and closer, especially in PPR as well. So we'll see if Gurley, though, has one thing that, Bell has one thing that Gurley doesn't have, and that's the ability to show consistency. Gurley hasn't done that yet. If he has a season like he did last year, or even close to as last year, in this coming season, then yeah, he'll show consistency. Bell has been doing this for the last 3-4 years. So if there's something Bell has on him, it's the fact that he's shown the fact that he can repeat this ability a lot. So I'm going to take Julio Jones with my 10th pick. Then it goes Melvin Gordon, Kareem Hunt, AJ Green, Saquon Barkley. So I'm looking at another receiver actually right now. I'll go running backs. I'm just going to go pass catching running backs. A lot, obviously 18 picks until my next turn. So I'm looking probably a little further down the list when it comes to running backs. Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette. I'd be happy if Jared McKinnon is still there for me. Obviously Joe Mixon, Alex Collins, Rashard Penny, Devontae Freeman. But right now, Keenan Allen is kind of, the only problem is they want me to take Keenan Allen, but he's the exact same bye week as as Julio Jones. So week 8 would be kind of a weird thing, but honestly, it's 1 week. I could find 2 receivers. If it's 1 loss, it's whatever. I'm not really all that worried about the bye weeks. Is when you get to like 3, 4, 5 players with the same bye week is whatever. Keenan Allen's too good. It's 1 week. I'll figure it out week 8. Maybe I'll get lucky. But look at that. Let's see. Jerick McKinnon gone. Yeah, didn't think so. As I'm looking at all the running backs that went, Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook, Devonta Freeman, Christian McCaffrey, LaShawn McCoy, and Doug Ball, and Jerick McKinnon all gone. As I'm stuck with probably, it looks like Jordan Howard, which is not bad. I got to take Jordan Howard because I need a running back. But I'm not big on him when it comes to PPR, because I think that when it comes to throwing the ball out of the backfield for the Bears, it's going to be more Tariq Cohen this season, especially with what he did last year. I do like Kenyon Drake, though, with Miami, as he drops to me now, as I had 4 picks, as it was Amari Cooper, Joe Mixon, Alshon Jeffrey, and Demaryius Thomas getting taken. By the way, Zach Ertz and Travis Kelce, those tight ends, Travis Kelce and Rob Gronkowski, all go in the 3rd round. So the top 3 tight ends all in the 3rd round in PPR. It's a 12-man league. So we're going to go deep. As Kenyon Drake, I need a running back. So I'm running with, honestly, they could be fine. They're both starters. They're both going to get touches. They're both going to have a lot of volume this season. That's Jordan Howard and Kenyon Drake. So they're both the number 1 running back on their team, and they're both guys, both on teams that are going to run the ball and pass also to the Kenyon Drake out of the backfield is going to be good too. I like Corey Davis, but of course Tennessee has that 8th week bye. See, I told you 2 is enough. 3, I can't do 3 receivers on the same bye because that's a tough turnover. Tom Brady got picked. Sean Watson got picked. Aaron Rodgers got picked. By the way, that was in the 4th round. Deshaun Watson was the first quarterback taken. See, that's why I like this draft simulator, because it mixes it up. It doesn't always do the same thing every time. It doesn't just go straight off the rankings. It mixes it up a lot. And Marvin Jones, Golden Tate got picked one after another, by the way. Stephon Diggs got picked after Adam Thielen by a whole round. So that'll tell you there about 15-20 picks difference. Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. Juju Smith-Schuster got picked. Dang, kind of wanted him. But it looks like that. Russell Wilson is staring me at the face. I'm going to wait on that, obviously. I might have to get a quarterback next round, because as much as I'd like to wait on quarterbacks and just go off of what's left, this draft simulator likes to pick quarterbacks early. So I kind of, like I said, you have to adjust to your draft people that you're drafting with. Sometimes it might take you off your original track that you wanted to, but sometimes you just have to do things because guys that you might think are available later aren't going to be available because of the ways, because of the trends that people go on with drafting. So when it comes to my pick, actually, we're going to have to go, like Deion Lewis, but that's the same bye week as 8. Greg Olson's out there. He gets hurt a lot. I bet you he gets hurt this season, even though he's the 4th ranked tight end. Evan Ingram's out there as well. I have 4 picks until my next pick. So, as much as I want to go get another a tight end or receiver, I'm going to go with a running back, and it's going to be Jay Ajayi, because I think he's going to, other than Corey Clement, I think is going to be the guy there in Philly, and he's going to get a lot of touches. So we're going to go Jay Ajayi with this because he's kind of similar. Deion Lewis, obviously, I think he's going to get a lot of touches as well. As Evan Ingram goes, Russell Wilson went, Devontae Parker and Devin Funchess go also. As I'm now staring again at a receiver probably, because Jay Ajayi becomes my flex player. Also need a tight end, also need a quarterback. Honestly, I'm thinking about taking a quarterback right now because of the fact that all these guys are going to go pretty soon. So let's just take Drew Brees. I like Drew Brees. Also Carson Wentz is out there. I think actually Carson Wentz is probably the better pick here. We'll take Carson Wentz coming off the injury, which is fine. A little bit question marks there. Drew Brees was gone in between. Cam Newton's gone as far as quarterbacks go, so I probably would have been Russell. This happens every time. Jimmy Garoppolo goes 7th round. Wow, Ben Roethlisberger, these are higher than usual. Kirk Cousins, the 7th round, ended up being the big quarterback round. 4 quarterbacks got taken in the 7th round so far. As you saw, Des Bryant got taken in the 6th round. He's without a team still. That's crazy. So, and then Corey Davis, honestly, he'll probably get picked earlier because somebody will like him a lot. And he probably deserves to get picked earlier than 7th, especially for PPR. I think Marcus Mariota and him are going to get on a good page this year, and he's going to end up getting a lot of catches. He's going to hopefully be healthy the whole season this time, and maybe that's the reason why he drops in this simulator, because of the fact that he's hurt a lot. Right now, it looks like that my best pick, as I'm looking at it for a receiver here, is going to be Robert Woods, which is fine. I like Robert Woods, good possession receiver. Also got Jamison Crowder out there as well as Chris Hogan when it comes to receivers. Sterling Shepard, Rob Anderson, Randall Cobb, Tariq Cohen's there too. I'll probably end up picking Tariq Cohen, by the way. Just saying, even though him and they're on the same team, but. Bye weeks are 1 week. I can figure it out. Bye weeks are when you really get to use all your ads in the waivers, because you'll probably be flipping your team. So we'll take Robert Woods. I like Robert Woods a lot. As Andrew Luck actually goes after that, and Marquise Lee, Nelson Aguilar, Lamar Miller. As now I'm staring at Jamison Crowder. I'm not a big Jamison Crowder fan, even though I think this year might be a good year for him, though, because of the fact that he runs those good intermediate routes, and Alex Smith can get that. We'll throw those. He's going to get probably a lot of touches in the PPR game because of that, those shorter routes versus other guys running the deeper routes. But I don't know. Jamison Crowder always been kind of like that wide receiver tight end tandem. He's not the fastest guy in the world. I like Tariq Cohen. I think he's going to go before. How far down is he? Marlon Mack's down there, Tevin Coleman, Chris Hogan. This is the problem. This is where I get to this position here, and I know Jamison Crowder his best ranking is actually 36th. His worst is 109, so his average is 67th overall. This is where we're getting into this decision. Deion Lewis is also available, but I'm not a big Deion Lewis fan. He also has the same bye week as like three of my players, whereas James Crowder has a week 4 bye week. Honestly, this is what the mock drafts are for. I'm going to go stretch and actually take a different receiver. I like Alex Smith. I want Alex Smith. I mean, not Alex Smith. I like Alex Smith. I'd love to have an Alex Smith receiver. I want an Aaron Rodgers receiver, though. I want a guy who's been with Rodgers for a long time, who's going to get in the end zone a lot this season, and that's Randall Cobb. So we're going to grab Randall Cobb here. As Duke Johnson and Carlos Hyde go back-to-back, even though they're on the same team. A bunch of, 6 running backs go in a row right there. Then Chris Hogan, then Jamison Crowder, Jamal Williams, Marlon Mack. I don't look at who's waiting for me. Tariq Cohen, but he's the same bye week as my other, because I have Jordan Howard. But that's what J.J. is for. That's why he can flip into that running back position, and then I could use Tariq Cohen in other places for my flex, especially when Kenyon Drake goes on his bye. So, did it just kill me? The problem with live recording right now is the fact that this thing doesn't work every time. Are we gonna start over again? And we're gonna speed up. We're gonna speed through that pick. As it started over on me again. Well, actually, we only had a few more. We were on the bench. Honestly, the starters were good. I got Jordan Howard, Julio Jones, Keenan Allen. Who was my other running back? Jordan Howard and Kenyon Drake, and then Carson Wentz for my quarterback. I hadn't picked a tight end yet, but I probably was going to get like Jordan Reed or something like that. So there you go. We're doing another mock draft from the beginning. Same pick. I'm the 11th overall. Same thing. We're going to get Julio again. It might go the same way. But look at that. Oh, it went a little different because I picked 11th instead of 10th, actually. So I get to pick quickly as I either can pick Michael Chase. I'm going to do the same thing again. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the back-to-back receivers and PPR because those guys are number 1 guys. I got 2 number 1 receivers. Jerick McKinnon goes early, 2nd round. Wow. Adam Thielen goes early, 2nd round. See, this is all different. Aaron Rodgers got picked. I'm going to get Joe Mixon as my number 1 running back. Kenyon Drake's gone. Jordan Howard's gone. I had to get Joe Mixon. There you go. And Alex Collins drops right to me. I like Alex Collins. Love him. As we're speeding through these first couple rounds too. So, I mean, the basis is, like I said, your bench, you're going to turn over probably 4 or 5 times during the season. Your starting 5, which I had last time, was, like I said, Wentz, Julio, Keenan Allen. I had tough decisions, obviously, with Jordan Howard, Kenyon Drake, were my top guys in that one. But I hadn't picked a tight end yet. I was probably going to be like as a Jordan Reed or something like that who was available. As we sped through these first few picks of this, I had to restart the draft over because it crashed on me. But it's fine. I was pretty much the same. But the top 5 guys is what we really look at. Like I said, the bench guys are kind of, where can you find value? Who's actually going to make it through the ringer? So we're actually going to come back and finish off this new draft that I just started. We're already in the 5th round. As I did those first few picks pretty quickly. Already in the 5th round as I'm deciding to take a quarterback early again because this draft always requires it. Deshaun Watson's gone. The top 5 quarterbacks are all gone as I'm sitting with Drew Brees once again. I actually will take Drew Brees this time because of the fact that I have his receiver, so I get a little double points. So we'll do that when we come back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. As we did take Drew Brees there with that 5th round pick, just because all the quarterbacks were going to be gone before that, and I get to pick again because I'm the 11th pick of the draft, so I have to pick now after Marvin Jones and Carson Wentz gets picked. Obviously, Golden Tate's right there. Brandon Cooks is there. Brandon Cooks is the top guy for me right now because of the fact that he isn't in the same buy, and I'm going to have my quarterbacks. I have Joe Mixon. I went lower level running backs. Obviously, we got Joe Mixon and Alex Collins, but those are both number 1 guys. They're going to get plenty of touches. No more Jeremy Hill in Cincinnati. It's pretty much just Joe Mixon. Alex Collins is the number 1 guy in Baltimore. He's going to get lots of touches. I'm going off volume here. Then we got obviously 2 top receivers who make up for it with the receivers, Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, and then Drew Brees is the quarterback. So every time he throws a touchdown to Michael Thomas, I get double points, which is nice. So gotta like that. As now Brandon Cooks is going to be my pick here as I get my flex guy. Also want to look for a pass catching running back for more of them. I like how high Chuck McKinnon's getting picked. Obviously, he's a Niner fan. I like that. J.J. is gone. Who's available right now? Tevin Coleman is a guy. Carlos Hyde. Chris Thompson could do him. He catches a lot of passes out of the backfield. I think that him and Mr. Alex Smith might have a good little rapport this season. I like Chris Thomas. Maybe a little bit early to take him. Devin Funchess is available, but I don't need another receiver to sit on my bench. I need a running back, pass catching running back. So we're going to reach and grab Chris Thomas because I had 20 picks before. And a bunch of guys all gone, so I didn't really have a choice there. And I get 2 picks, and I can take. Oh, Devin Funchess got picked to Mo Fuller. Okay, then I can take Chris Hogan or Tevin Coleman. Chris Hogan, honestly, is not a bad idea because Chris Hogan, and the more and more he's on the Patriots, the better he gets because he's on with Brady, and Brady losing Edelman for the first 4 games, losing Amendola to go to the Rams. So I think Chris Hogan's going to have a great, at least, start to the season. So let's take him as a bench player that could end up not being on my team by week 4. I mean, by week 5, who knows? As a bunch of guys get taken. Tariq Cohen got taken. There he is, Tariq Cohen. Gotta love him. Nick Chubb, Cooper Kupp, Rex Burkhead, Devontae Foreman, Carlos Hyde, Kenny Stills, Duke Johnson, and then Mike Gillespie, or Geiske from Miami, a tight end as well. So, I mean, did I even get a tight end? I'm going to have to go and get Kyle Rudolph right now because I haven't gotten a tight end yet. They're there. Buddy Jamison Crowder's still there in round 10. as I grab there. Bilal Powell. I like Bilal Powell. I like Theo Riddick too. Devontae Booker is the same bye week as some guys I have right now. I mean, he's a bench guy, so I mean, same bye week as Alex Collins, being a backup running back. I have Chris Thompson, but I like Bilal Powell. He's going to get a lot of touches there in New York with the Jets. Obviously, young quarterbacks probably going to run the ball a lot. Sterling Shepard goes, Kelvin Benjamin, Marquise Lee. So you can get some value at receiver late in this draft. As there's lots of guys. Obviously, Jamison Crowder was still there. Sean Jackson, Cameron Meredith. A bunch of receivers got taken. Alan Hearns, Josh Doxson, Giovanni Bernard, Jordan Reed got taken. DJ Moore. I like DJ Moore. Jason White. It says Jacksonville defense because I have everybody already, and half my bench is already filled out. So honestly, Jacksonville defense wouldn't be bad because I think they're going to start taking defenses. This simulator is. So we'll take a defense first. We'll get the best one, just to, because if you get the best defense, if a job's right to you, just take it because it's like 4 or 5 weeks of not having to deal with having to flip your defense over. When they have their bye week, you can deal with it. As Tyler Lockett and Trey Burton got taken in between my 2 picks here. As look at that, Jimmy Garoppolo is available. I can take a second running quarterback. Wouldn't be bad. Just mix and match Jimmy Garoppolo and Drew Brees. Latavius Murray's there. James White's still on the board. I like James White, honestly. Now that no Deion Lewis, I think he's going to obviously be the number 1 guy in New England. And I think him and Rex Burkhead, basically just the 2 of them. When there's 3 of them, it's tough to decide. But I look at that. Matt Breida goes 12th round. I like Matt Breida. That's a good sleeper pick. Mark him down. Matt Breida is. Him and Jerick McKinnon in the backfield for the Niners are going to have a crazy season, I think, this year. As we're getting closer to the end of this draft already, only three more picks to go. As I'm going to take running. Actually, let's take a second quarterback. We'll take a second quarterback. No, we're going to take Trey Burton, second tight end as on there, and then my kicker is I like Justin Tucker, so I'm taking him early. I like Justin Tucker. If I was going to take a kicker before everybody else, it's going to be Justin Tucker for sure. But and let's now look at my last pick, obviously, as there's always guys to look at. I actually did not get a rookie this year. This one. I didn't get a rookie on this one, didn't I? That's weird. Usually I get a rookie. But no, we got Justin Tucker, so we have our kicker. We don't need to worry about that. Corey Coleman, obviously, a good receiver. It's going to stay healthy, obviously, for the Browns, but I'm not a big Browns person. As we'll take our last one. Keelan Cole, was he still available? Yeah, we'll take Keelan Cole. Honestly, I think he's going to be a fine year for the Jacksonville Jaguars this year as we finish off. As it was Drew Brees, Julio Jones, Michael Thomas. So we went high-octane receivers, back-to-back receiver picks in the first round because that's just how it felt to me, having the 11th pick. Julio Jones dropping to the 11th pick overall because of all those top-tier pass-catching running backs is crazy. With Zeke, not Zeke. Zeke drops as well because he doesn't catch the ball as much out of the backfield as Brown would out off of a regular pass, obviously, and then Bell and Gurley and David Johnson. And Jerick McKinnon goes early in the second round. But no, I got so it ended up being 2 kind of B running backs that are probably going to get enough touches to survive, Joe Mixon and Alex Collins. I had Joe Mixon last year, actually, and splitting time with Giovanni Bernard and Jeremy Hill had a pretty nice little season, so I can't knock that, as I do like my Joe. I do like how he plays. Not like what he did before he got in the NFL, but hopefully he's past that and is going to be a model citizen for the rest of his time here. Also got to look at Geronimo Allison. Any type of target for Aaron Rodgers can be dangerous in fantasy. So he's a guy. Remember, no more Jordan Nelson for Mr. Rodgers. So I think Geronimo Allison could see his draft stock go up coming this season. Obviously, we have Terrell Pryor. I think Terrell Pryor, he's in the Jets now. Yeah, so, he's put up some numbers as a receiver now these days. The fact that he's able to switch positions in the NFL, but he played in the NFL as a quarterback and has played in the NFL as a receiver. That's not too shabby. To play the top level of the game of this game at 2 different positions is in itself a feat for Terrell Pryor. But Yeah, no, I do like Geronimo Allison. No more Jordy Nelson. It's basically going to be Devontae Adams, Allison, and Randall Cobb, who I took in this draft because I like any type of Aaron Rodgers target. He likes to spread the ball around. He does have favorites, obviously, Randall Cobb being one of his favorites, but he will finds the open receiver every single time. He lets go of that ball. It's going to be to a guy that he thought was the most open versus I'm going to force it into this guy. No, he's the most open. I'm going to throw it to him. I trust all my receivers to go get the ball. All right. Honestly, we're gonna cut it right here at the end of this draft here. I do want to have a couple more things. We'll save them for Thursday, as we did just do some talk on the guys holding out, what's the effects are going to be, and the implications for fantasy. IDP guys out there, look out. Maybe we'll see if there's a slow starts from Khalil Mack or from Aaron Donald this season. I don't think it's really going to affect their draft stocks. Maybe Khalil Mack a little bit because of what happened last season and his down year. But we'll wrap it up and sign off, and we'll be back on Thursday for another edition of the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Until then, everybody have a good week. Talk to you later. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Fantasy Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.